I'm from Fraser. We've been established. We are a trader since 2009, primarily moving lumber over to Asia. And like the guys before us, we saw an opportunity, and we got bigger, and we said, hey, why don't we create a platform called Wood Trader? Now, I think generally if we went back 5 years and we talked to suppliers and buyers and said, hey, it's all going to go digital, they would laugh at us and kind of walk away. And what we noticed today at the booth is when we're talking to people, they're saying, damn it, you're right, I don't like it, but you're right. And the trend is going that way. So we see the slow progression of people moving that way. Now, there's a lot of hurdles, and the players are trying to get into this market. I think we're all trying to learn a lot. Now, this is a very traditional industry, and we can't just change it overnight. So today, I'm going to really talk about some of the hurdles we faced and how we're trying to answer those hurdles. But before I do, we are an international marketing company, and I do want to push and get people to think about moving international, spreading out their markets. I don't want to get into the whole tariff thing, but if anything we can learn from this is a good lesson is that the more you spread out your market, the safer, the more stable your business is going to be. If you look at a company like Shell, the gas company, they literally started off selling decorative seashells that they imported from the East. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the decorative seashell market, but they probably made a good move, moving to gas. Nokia started off selling, tires and rubber boots. And they're a phone company. I mean, maybe they should have stuck with the tires, but the idea is that diversity is important, and we want to make sure everyone has a stable business and grow your business. So, quick look at it. I'm not going to touch too much on the United States, but China. For Canadian wood going out to China, we're seeing a little bit of a dip right now, but there's still huge volumes going out there. And I think this market is going to change. Japan, it is also dipping slightly, but West Coast is actually rising a bit by 2%. Japan's going to be an interesting market to pay attention to because right now the government has this mandate on being 50% domestic. So by 2020. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to keep an eye on it. South Korea is blowing up. Their housing market is up about 78%. And because of the wood and the energy products, keeping things cold, keeping things warm, 24% of that wood is getting increased from Canada. So huge opportunity there. And the Canadian government is doing a great job at pushing wood products to India. They're spending a lot of money on it. And though they're probably about 10 years behind, there's still a lot of opportunity going on there. I'm going to talk more about China today because that is our bread and butter. And again, the government has done a great job of pushing the safety of wood products in China. And we have teams out there that are saying this is starting to resonate right now. Overall, again, the China market is down, but the China import is increasing. Now, that's mostly from Russia, but I think we can start stealing more of that to ourselves. Now, when we were building our app, it's an interesting thing to have a bunch of old school traders and a bunch of tech guys in the same room. The tech guys are going to sit down and say, okay, this is the logical way of doing things. And the traders are going to be like, yeah, but that's not the way we do things. And that's going to go back and forth for months until everyone gets annoyed, and you have to realize you have to stop and break it down and look at everything and how it can solve a problem. And this is what we did. But the first thing we really had to realize is that every company is different. When you're creating a platform, you can't get a company to stop doing business the way they're doing business and do it the way that your platform has been laid out. There has to be this transition period. So one of the things we recently offered was called program offers, because some people going into China want to really work with one or two players. They want to build these good strategic relationships instead of just blanking it everywhere. But there's other players who want to just go. They want to go into every country. They want everyone to see their products and just get people to bid on it. So we have to be able to adapt to each and every one of those. They also have to decide how involved do they want to be with the customer. Do they want to be back and forth? Do they want to know who they are? Or do they not care? Do they just want to get rid of their product? Again, we need to be able to adapt to these situations. And lastly, how involved do they want to be with our system? And this is something we all have to be really honest with ourselves. We are in a very traditional industry, and we deal with buyers in China that haven't changed their hat in 20 years. So telling them that suddenly they have to change the way they do business is very difficult. So we need to do a step-by-step approach to get them over there. So our O2O capability means online to offline. We have sales guys in Asia that are helping our buyers, who are these small little mills or manufacturers, and they're picking up their phone for them and showing them how to download an app. This is not something they're used to. For suppliers, a lot of them don't want to enter their stuff into our system because that's not how they've done business. So we have an account team, they're entering it for them. Now, we see this is going to change over the next few years, but we're in a transition period right now. In 5 years, did I raise my hand? No, I didn't, and I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to change in 5 years, but I hope soon, in the next 10 years, and we all have to work together and get that progress going so that we can get everyone there. Also, training material is also very important for us. The way to teach people, like I said, some people don't know how to download an app, and other people want to do the advanced, deep things in there. We have to be able to train them all, and people learn in different ways. We have to have web tutorials, one-on-one, and getting people on the ground and teaching them. And showing them the benefits when they're ready. My dad recently bought this big, fancy digital camera, and all he does is take pictures of the dog on the couch. And I was wondering why he needed all these features, and it really bothered me that he spent so much money on this camera that he's not using to its capability. But then I had to stop and tell myself that at the end of the day, it is a good camera. And that's kind of the mandate we gave to ourselves. At the end of the day, we need a good system. If you listen to the tech guys talk about all the features, it even confuses me at some point. But if you can break it down and get people to use the basics of your system and then slowly teach them, slowly show them other benefits that they can have, then they're going to be a lot more interested in moving on to the next system. So technology should help and not hinder. Now, this was interesting. I actually wasn't the first choice to come talk to you. My boss was. No one really wants to listen to a marketing guy. But one of the things we talked about briefly was that, oh, we could do this cool video chat thing. He could come in, we could go back and forth, and it would be like super. But then we realized, what are all the variables? What's the Wi-Fi going to be in here? These IT guys have done an amazing job, and everything's been seamless so far. I probably shouldn't have said that yet. But it's been great, and it may have worked, but the worst thing that could have happened is us being an innovative tech company is my boss's face frozen on there where I'm like, oh, just 1 second, I'm trying to figure it out. So really, we needed to be honest about the way we did it and pull it back. So some of the things for being an international platform that we had to think about was language. Now, I'm fairly new to this industry, and talking to some of these people in there, you guys have lingo like crazy, and it takes me 2 minutes to figure out what you guys are talking about. And the same in the China market and all these other markets. So the basics of it is to be able to simplify the language as much as possible and then translate it. To make it so you can talk on equal levels, imperial, metric, whatever it is, to be able to communicate between two different people and two different ways of talking and get them to have a common ground to speak on. Time zones. Now, like the people before me, it is important to have things in real time. So when a supplier enters all their products, someone in China who is probably at home watching Gilmore Girls or whatever the Chinese equivalent of that is, it can be on their phone and looking at the wood products and actually bidding and purchasing them. That is, wherever they're going at any time, they're able to be interactive with us. And I think that's something, especially in time zones, that has to be very important. When knowing products are available, as in if you were looking for something, a lot of these foreign markets don't always have the supply they need. So if they can look for something that they particularly want and it pop up on their phone when it's ready, this is also going to help them, and they're going to be more interested in using us or whoever. Search what you want for, again, like the products, particular sizes, type of species. You're not forced with one certain kind. It really opens up the market that way. And getting a deeper understanding of your business in the analytics, understanding where your money is best spent. Is it promoting this? Is it going into this country? Is it going into India and selling logs? Or is it the J grade into Japan? Like where is the money really going to be? And being able to look at those analytics over time is going to make you a better business person. Now, one of the things that we found interesting was that mostly we're seeing big, large orders going overseas because there's a lot involved with one order. You have your FIDO, your certificate of origin, you have to do the payment options declaration, and this is a lot of work, and maybe companies have a whole department doing this. So we understood that if we could somehow automate this, if we can make this easy, if we can make it simple, then we could have small orders going out too, and helping the smaller guys and the bigger guys working together and shipping stuff over. So that was one of our big things we were pushing for, is automation of the paperwork, so it just gets sent to you and emailed. You don't have to worry about the little stuff, and to help go over. also quality checks. Now, I think there's a lot of worries, and I talked to people today about, oh, I'm going to send my product over there, and they're going to say, hey, this isn't what I asked for, I want my money back, or whatever it's going to be. So we are working with reloading yards to get them on board, where they're actually taking pictures of the product, it gets shipped over, and when it lands, we have people over there that are taking pictures too. So we can it's the same product, the same thing, and this is helping liability go down. Same thing on the other side. We work in deep channels, especially in China. So we have these little manufacturing villages where three competitors are actually coming together so they can buy in volume. So they may be competing, but they all put it aside and go to the round table and be like, okay, we need to buy wood together to leverage some of the speed. But again, we wanted to, not that we don't want people to come together, but we want to give people the opportunity to buy smaller amounts. And our system is now allowing it to take all these smaller amounts and combining them to save people money, to be able to pair people together or fill up containers together and actually bring down the price. This is hugely helpful, and some of these smaller companies are able to bid on people's products, driving up the prices. Again, timing is very important. We had to be very careful around Chinese New Year because if any of you have done logistics, wood sitting on the ground in a yard can be very expensive. So making sure that we didn't ship it at the very beginning of Chinese New Year and then having a huge bill because no one's actually working then. That's 2 weeks off. And of course, tracking everyone like Amazon, whatever, everyone wants to know where their container is at all times. So that is something that for sure we had to incorporate. Now, security is very important. When suppliers give us their list, we don't want to just put it out into the world for everyone to see because people are going to be price checking, competition is going to be going in. So it's very important for us that every buyer that's able to see our supplier's list is verified. They go through our system, we know they're ready to buy, and they're able to buy. And we also created a credit program. We need to make sure people are able to actually buy things and that you're going to get paid. And after we were able to create this credit system, we were actually able to guarantee payment. So when whoever's buying, if you're getting someone buying from India, from Dubai, we can guarantee that these sawmills are going to get their money. This is a risk they don't have to worry about. Again, this is a huge fear of people trying to go expand internationally. Of course, a secure system, no one wants to get their data stolen. The IT guys told me about it before the show, and I had no clue what they're talking about, but apparently it's good. So if you have more questions, I can sure forward that to you. And of course, creating relationships. One of the things we want to do is help people come together from across the world. The more we want to brand our suppliers so that when a buyer, wherever they are in the world, is looking at that brand, they know it's going to be good quality compared to somebody else, and vice versa. You understand who's buying your stuff and you trust them. This is something we're going for. Now, I briefly want to talk about going into China. There is some confusion, and we have to talk differently to the different areas. So, beware of safety, kind of funny. So how do we message to people? It's kind of how you wrap it. It's the same product, but really, how do you sell it to them? So Google is banned in China. So we go through Baidu, which is basically the Google of China. Now, there is a hunger for information over there. We treat them much differently than we do here. The Chinese market doesn't mind the prodding and the pushing. They want information. They want to be swarmed by this. In fact, we have someone working full-time producing 3 articles a day on the Canadian and American wood markets because there's so much interest in it. So we do that through WeChat. It's like Facebook, and Twitter's also banned. So all of our information goes through there to help them learn about it and promote all Canadian and American lumber, to get them excited and to realize that they have options. And lastly, it's always important to have people on the ground. This is just an infographic. We don't actually have anybody in Saskatchewan, so wouldn't be very wise. But we do. It's still important. Again, this is a traditional market, to have people on the ground, to have people helping, and to help grow this business. And that's all I got. Thank you.